Welcome to another episode of The Narrative. I
Mm.
have here Delaney, or you guys may know her as Dels. She's one of the most hardest working and purest souls that I know. A little bit about her, just introducing her. She started off going to college like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
decided to put that on pause, and she ended up going to cosmetology school, getting her cosmetology license, started up her hair business, and has been running with that ever since. Am I right?
Yes, I went to college and I was doing cosmetology school at the same time, but I did pause, like you mentioned, and I can share more about that after.
There you go. So I guess the first question I wanted to ask you was if you could describe your journey since then in like one word, how would you describe it?
I would describe the journey of entrepreneurship as a refining experience. You want to know why? Yes.
Yeah.
A refining experience because being in business, especially running one by yourself, you're a one woman show. You are wearing all of the hats, which can be a lot to juggle, especially if you don't have any mentors to guide you, if you will. You're in a whole relationship. I like to make that parallel because being in business as an entrepreneur will leave you very vulnerable. You have to have a lot of faith in yourself. You have to have the will. You have to have the drive to just get up and get it. If you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for you. Of course, you're going to hit highs and lows. But it really has just like built my character. And so that's why I say that it has been a refining experience. Um, because just like any other relationship, you go through all of those motions. And if you're willing to do the work, it can be successful.
What would you say is a limiting belief that you had early on? It could be anything about maybe the way you saw money, the way you saw your path, something that you had to break through in order to believe in yourself that you could do it or make that jump to start your own business.
Mhm. I think honestly, I was so eager to get into like the specialty. So I went into cosmetology school with the direction of like I wanted to do curly hair exclusively. And I was just like so determined and I knew that I could make it happen that I don't really feel like in the beginning there were limiting beliefs. I do think that there were certain obstacles that as I like legalized my business, because in the beginning I worked under the table as I built up my clientele, now becoming a legal business and stepping into that realm of like all responsibility, paying taxes quarterly to the state, to the IRS. And I started out very young. I did not know what I was doing. I didn't know that I had to pay certain things by a certain time, about dates and deadlines. And obviously, because I didn't know what I didn't know, I was impacted by that. And I'm not going to lie, that put me into like, I really struggled emotionally and mentally. Just because of certain circumstances that I encountered,
Personal circumstances or
like the legal stuff and paying taxes. My first year being legal, I didn't know that like I said, I didn't know I was supposed to pay certain things and put it to the side. And I know to somebody else it might be like, hello. And I was paying some taxes. I was paying something. I just didn't know I was supposed to put a certain amount away for IRS taxes, let's say. And so when I filed my first income tax, Uncle Sam came and took what was his, you feel me? And, like, because I was so unaware, I felt so defeated. I felt like, damn, if I would have known better, I would have done it for sure. I just didn't have any mentors who could point me in that direction, who could tell me. And again, to somebody else who's been in business, like, obviously now I know better, but starting out, and I didn't have anybody leading me. And so that's why I say I took that L.
what would you say to maybe that younger entrepreneur that maybe is getting paid under the table and is making themselves legal, like coming out of the things that you learned from your journey, what would you tell them?
I would say if you can find yourself a business coach, find yourself a CPA, an accountant, somebody who can give you insight about your state specifics and what you should be putting away. I would also say if you are a woman based business or you're trying to establish a business, I would open up several different high yield savings accounts, like for PTO. If you want to have children, I would put money away for that. And that's obviously once you start making profits and you can have extra money to put away. I would have a savings for your taxes that you're going to be paying, things like that. Again, I would have saved me
Hmm.
so much stress if I
Yeah.
would have known before.
And coming from my journey as
Mm-hmm.
well and the people that I've met, that's something that I always love to preach as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you're starting out, the fastest way to learn to grow is to learn from
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's already done it.
An expert,
Whether
yeah.
exactly whether like you said it would be a business coach or with the financing side you can find a CPA. My personal favorite is, for example, if in my shoes, if I wanted to be a salesperson, I'm gonna find the best salesperson I know. And if there's a way that maybe I can pay to join a program or a mentorship, I'm gonna find a way to do it because learning through trial and error is just gonna take me so
Mm-hmm.
much longer to get to where I envision myself to be, right?
Mm. I also want to add again, if you're very young or maybe you just feel like you don't have the means to pay for certain things, don't let that deter you. Like you can still get to where you want to be. You can use books, you can go on YouTube, find other influencers or just people who are that look like you or maybe they're in the place you want to be and listen to what their
Mm-hmm.
advice is until you are in a place where you can pay for that subject matter expert advice.
Adding on to that,
Mm.
you can also, if you find somebody local that you know is doing well in the path that you want to go to, you can offer to work for free just for
Mm-hmm.
the experience. You can soak up as much as you can, and as long as you show that you're determined, you're there to learn, you're there to make the most out of it, I find it hard to believe that a lot of people would turn you away.
Yeah.
That is something I also would encourage younger people wanting to get their foot in the door to do.
Yeah. I will say if you are wanting to be an entrepreneur or on this journey, you have to be hungry. You have to be willing to go out and ask those hard questions. The worst thing that can happen is that one person says no, but you got to keep going until you find your yes.
Yeah,
Mm,
appreciate you for being here.
of course. Thank you for having me.
So I won't. So,
Hmm.
was there a certain point when you were going to school that you decided, you know what, I'm going to go full time into cosmetology and I'm gonna make this work? Like, was there a tipping point?
Yes, but it wasn't that I was full time for both. And I remember that when the semester started for college again, I was already in cosmetology school. I had done a few semesters juggling the two together, but now I'm coming to the end of my cosmetology journey in school, and so I'm about to start practicals and state boards, and I'm like feeling like very unmotivated in school. I say in that moment I would rather learn from in person, real time experience. What do I need physics for in the salon? That's what I wanted to know. So I just felt like I don't want to continue paying out of pocket for college when I'm already doing this. I'm already doing this.
Yeah,
So I decided to take a pause, and that was the pivotal what was the word that you used?
the tipping
Tipping
point.
point. That was the tipping point for me. I was not willing to pay out of pocket for that, but then I did take that money, and once I graduated, well, one I while I was in school, I got a certification for my
Mm-hmm.
first curly cutting technique, which was very foundational for me. And then also I found myself a business coach, which I also felt was very beneficial. She is somebody that had already been there, done that, kind of like what he mentioned, somebody who was in a place where I strived to be, and had already gone through the motions. And her name is Jules
Shout
on
out Jules.
Instagram. Shout out Jules. But she really helped me out in the beginning and kind of setting my systems up. So I can actually pull up her Instagram. So her IG is literally at Jules Dropping Jewels. So if you want to give her a follow, she works with all service providers, not just hairstylists. So don't say I didn't bless y'all with information and resources.
Did you face pressure from family or friends to really just stick to the more traditional route, like go to college, and if you did, how did you deal with that?
Yes, back then, and I still do sometimes now. I remember that when I shared with certain family members, I verbatim heard, "Come on, Dels, you can do better than that." Because, traditionally, I'm Dominican. So when you hear somebody saying they're going to cosmetology school, at least when I was starting, it was kind of like, oh, she's just going to be doing blowouts. And I don't even want to say like I don't want to put anybody in a box. Everybody has their vision. There's nothing wrong with that if you are doing that. But for them, me being young, they're like, you have so much ahead of you. Don't just stop there. But they didn't understand what my vision was and how I was going to serve the community, the curly hair community, or just people of color. Um, so yeah, and even today, like I'll have the aunties who will say like, "Oh, are you still just gonna be doing hair? Are you planning to go back to school? Because you're so smart." And I'm like,
Side eye.
yeah, side eye. So,
Adding on to that point as well,
mm-hmm.
it's nothing you can't make successful. That idea where it's, oh, you have to go the more traditional route, it's something that I feel like is just really embedded in the mindsets of like immigrant parents that migrated over here for a better life just because they had it rough where they came
Mm-hmm.
from. Whether it be a curly hair business, a blowout business, you wanna start an online cookie business, you wanna do whatever. There, you can take any avenue and crush it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're dedicated, you have the vision, you're not afraid to dream big, and you're not constrained to the mental confines of this box of what is realistic and what is unrealistic. Because in reality, nothing is unrealistic. You, your life is a representation of your thoughts and your being to the extent that you believe them. So I just wanted to add that on because it's something that I see a lot, especially within the social circles that I've gotten to know and the different jobs that I've been, schools that I've been. So if you have a vision, you have a passion, think there's definitely ways to monetize that, and there's definitely ways to make more money than you ever even thought was possible.
I think for me, in that time, even though I was experiencing that response from people, um, it was honestly my whole business, I feel like it was God. Like it was a seed that God put in my heart, and it started through my own journey of like dealing with like restoring my hair, if you will. And I feel like if it was not something that was founded and rooted in God, I probably would not have continued. And even to this day, like obviously again highs and lows, but it is God who sustains me, sustains the business because it is a vision that he gave me. So you do, if you feel it something, if you have a vision and you feel it pressing in your heart, I do just want to urge you to, operate out of obedience, step out in faith, even though you are afraid. Faith and fear can live in the same place. I just, yeah, that's it.
I've been
That's it too.
reading I've been reading this book. It's called Happy Pocket Full of Money, and
Mm-hmm.
it just really talks about a lot of ways, or it really talks about how you are a lot more powerful than you think in
Mm-hmm.
so many different ways. And like you said, having that faith in your vision
Mm-hmm.
is really one of the most important parts because you can have all the action, you can have all the right pieces. You can have the action, you can have um, the thoughts, you can
Mm-hmm.
have the want to do something, but if you don't believe it's gonna happen, odds are it probably won't happen or it's gonna take a lot longer to get there than it could have if you just really believed in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's that. I wanted to ask you as well. Um, what does Catch Me Blooming represent to you?
Catch Me Blooming to me is okay. We gotta backtrack. I gotta tell you guys or give you guys a little bit of context. I felt, again, sharing this vision that I had with my family or with friends, whatever. At the time, curly hair was not as trendy, it wasn't big. And so I felt like I experienced a lot of doubt from others. And not just like with a business idea, but let's backtrack even more for when I'm going through my own hair journey. My hair was fried. It was dead. And it took me a long time to recover my hair. I didn't even know what my curls looked like, to be honest, because like many others, their parent didn't know how to care for their curls, and so that was something that I had to learn on my own. And we did not have at that time as many resources as we have now. And so why I even bring that up is because even like I had to cut my hair so many times to remove the dead ends because I was not willing to do a big chop. And I would hear all the time from people like, girl, nothing's even happening. Like, why are you continuing to do that? And I had to go through a very uncomfortable stage because I didn't love the way that I looked, but I stayed true to the process. That is a word for somebody. No, but what does Catch Me Blooming mean? It is essentially like, catch me blooming. I am going to continue growing. I am going to continue showing up, regardless of whether that is in the physical or internally. You cannot measure growth based off of what people see, what people think. If you continue to choose and do the work, it's gonna happen. That's just what it is. You reap what you sow. And so Catch Me Blooming is exactly that. I wanted to read a verse that I feel speaks to that. And it is from Jeremiah 17:7 through 8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water, and its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. And so I feel like that speaks to Catch Me Blooming because regardless of the season that we've been in, because of where I'm postured, I know that growth is happening. And so yeah.
That's amazing. Um, cool. how does how do you continue to see all that Catch Me Blooming represents
Hmm.
show out in your day to day, whether it be through work or your life?
Uh, the way that I see Catch Me Blooming show up in my day to day, it's because as I established, it's a declaration, it's a choice. I see that in my day to day, in the way that I get up and I get the things done, even when I don't feel like it, building that discipline muscle and showing up for my clients and operating from a space of excellence because you are stewarding these people who are coming into your space. You don't know what they're going through, and I want to make sure that I pour into your cup. But also, likewise, Catch Me Blooming is pouring into my own cup, or at least I'm learning to do that because it's not something that I feel like I was taught to do.
Mhm.
Again, just highlight the fact that it's a declaration, it is a daily choice to wake up and give your yes. I feel like it is me choosing to build my endurance muscle. It is me choosing to build my discipline muscle. When I do not feel like getting up, when I do not feel like moving forward, when I do not feel like doing the things, it is the declaration, the thing that urges me to move forward because you cannot stay in the same place. I do not want to wake up next year and be in the same position, dealing with the same struggles. I know that there is more within me. And so, how it shows up again in my day to day as a mom, for example, I want my daughter to dip from a well of abundance and not from trauma. I want her to be brave. I want her to be bold. And so how does that show up for me? I have to make the decision to deal with the things that I haven't dealt with, the traumas and the things in my business that might be stumbling blocks that I want to see be better. I want her to learn to be a woman of integrity, so that looks like me not compromising who I am because the world doesn't treat me the way that I wanted to, or because I didn't have the cards
Right.
that I desired to be dealt. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have the ideal cards, I believe that you can make things happen, I believe that you can still be successful. And that obviously looks different for everybody, and that has changed for me. Like, what do I value? But essentially, that's what Catch Me Blooming is, and how it shows up for me in my day to day and in my business. Like, I really desire to show up and serve and be and operate from a space of excellence. No, truly, because it's like, if you're gonna do something halfway, then don't even do it. And I do want to mention that our capacity and mental health is a real thing. So yesterday you might have given, like, you truly had 100%, and today I'm only at 50. But if you gave that full 50, you still gave it all that you had. So
This has been, and adding on to your point, this has been a message that's been recurring through the last couple episodes of my podcast that I like emphasizing. Like you said, it's a choice to embody Catch Me Blooming. It's, you have to be disciplined. You have to show up for yourself. Even when you feel 50%, you got to give that 50%. It's hard. And it's a choice that you make. And I'll just bring an analogy into this just because I feel like this is the way that I can explain it. It's hard to be healthy, quote unquote. It's also hard to be unhealthy. When you're healthy, you got to wake up, you got to go to the gym, you have to eat right, you have to work out, you have to put in the effort. Yes. When you're unhealthy, you have to deal with the repercussions of being unhealthy, of not being able to do the things that you would like to do. And you're also going to go through certain struggles, and you're also going to go through those mental battles. So no matter what path you choose and whatever it is you're trying to do, it is going to be hard. So you might as well choose the hard that is going to be to you your most benefit.
Yeah. I feel like it's giving, there's always going to be a cost. It's giving carry your cross. It's giving, like he said, you get to choose your hard. And regardless, it's going to cost you something. If you decide to stay where you are, it's going to cost you the complacency. It's going to cost you unused gifts. It's going to cost you, now you may struggle with low self-esteem because you're not willing to do the work.
You mentioned in the first year you really had those challenges with making your business a legal entity, putting money aside for taxes and whatnot. After that first year, how has entrepreneurship challenged you since then in big ways that shaped who you are today?
How has it challenged me after that first year? I think it's just a common theme of continuing to believe in the vision, but also embracing the evolution of the vision, because it's not what it was when it first started. I feel like it's shaped me because it's helped me to continue valuing the investments from my clients and the exchanges that we have. I'm very big on, like, just vulnerability and supporting the people that I serve. I feel like, again, and I want to go back and touch on just like embracing the evolution of what that vision was, because I feel like I went through some breakup, like a breakup with my business, or something that felt like it, and then I kind of came back. So there's been a little bit of like back and forth.
How do you mean?
I literally took a leave, and I didn't know if I was coming back. I took a leave from doing hair. This was like in 2022, and I didn't think I was gonna come back to doing hair, but I really came back so quick because I was able to take a step back and do something else, but I realized that it wasn't fulfilling for me. I just needed a break because I didn't know how to create balance. I'm still navigating that. I didn't know how to create rest, because in entrepreneurship is like 24/7. Like, you get away from your 9 to 5 to work 24/7, but it's literally, what is it that I heard? It was like, it's easy to give birth to something, but the challenging part is nurturing what you gave birth to. Anybody can just have a baby, but not everybody nurtures that baby and instills what needs to be instilled and builds that baby up so that they can be a success. Okay, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Like, hello.
adding on to your point about, leaving your 9 to 5 and working your 24/7. I resonate with that because I had a good job by societal standards, and I was working my 9 to 5. However, I definitely knew I wasn't fulfilled. definitely knew that's not where I wanted to be at
Mm-hmm.
every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Did not want to spend my time there. I always felt that I could be doing something else that was worth more of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also started my journey of entrepreneurship. I've been, I've done a lot of different things over the past year.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started my marketing business at the time, ever since then, I was working 24/7. I went through like a stint where I left my job for about a week. I said, you know what, if I make this work, I'm gonna leave. I
Mm-hmm.
made some cash and I left my job. And ever since, I've been working way, way more than I was when I just was working my 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And not once did I ever feel like this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Not
Mm-hmm.
once did I feel like I wasn't in the right path or I was unfulfilled. It's all felt like ever since then, like I've been adding building blocks, the necessary building blocks to my ultimate purpose, long term purpose. So I just wanted to add on to that and say I resonated with that as well, and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
you guys could get something out of that as well.
I'm gonna add another Bible verse.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make this a whole church session, but I just feel like it speaks to like what we're talking about perfectly. It says in Hebrews 12:11, and I literally wrote this down this morning. So it says, "No discipline is enjoyable while it is happening. It is painful, but afterward there will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained in this way." So I kind of feel like it speaks to what we're discussing because do you wake up every day and feel like you want to do the things? Like, yes, you feel fulfilled and you feel like you're in the right path, but do you wake up every day feeling motivated?
It's definitely hard to get up off that bed sometimes,
Yeah.
but I do it.
And he does it.
Uh-huh.
And it's the discipline that is going to allow for him to reap that harvest. It's the discipline of showing up. It's the discipline of doing the work. It looks different every day, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, on the days that you might struggle, maybe you have a later start. Maybe you don't clock in the same amount of hours on day one versus the day two that you're a little bit more tired. And I think that's okay too. I think the most because we don't want to push a toxic productivity situation either. I think that balance is important and like honoring your journey in the because it's not linear.
What does that mean to you, toxic productivity?
I mean, just because you're busy doesn't mean you're being productive. That's what I mean. Just because you're doing all the things doesn't mean that
Do you have like
you're being fruitful.
do you have like an example that you can kind of bring so
The
we can
people can
visualize
know.
it?
Yeah. Um okay. What does that look like for me? Okay, that can be me getting in front of my computer screen every single day and or just like juggling all the different ideas that I have. But because I'm trying to build all of these different ideas, I'm not able to become really, I cannot develop the one really well,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense. I feel like, yes, you can have all of these ideas, but it's better to just like slow down and focus. That doesn't make sense. That's not a good
No,
example. Was
that
it?
is a good example.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I
It makes good
I feel like
conversation.
it just looks different for everybody, and it looks different every single day. Like on some days, I do feel like I have the capacity to do admin work, to brainstorm, and to build and develop ideas that I have for my business while juggling all the other things that I'm doing and serve clients on top of that. But then on other days, I only have the capacity to just show up for my clients, and that's enough for me. Or I'm learning to make that enough.
And I'll add on to that because it's like what you mentioned. If you are in a place where you are scatterbrained
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like you have to be productive and you may just be all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
I'll encourage to the point whereas you can just take a step back and
Mm-hmm.
really rest if you need to, but also figure out what is the one most important thing
Yeah.
where if I put my energy into, this is what will move the needle forward.
Exactly.
And I would say something that another perspective to look at it, it's you don't want to run into toxic productivity in the sense of you're just working just to work. As you move on in your journey, you're gonna realize there's a lot more ways to be efficient and really be more efficient about how you're being productive. You'll learn how to prioritize, and you'll learn how to build out systems so that you are spending your days in the way that you know you should. There as time goes on, you'll feel less and less chaotic about those crazy days because you'll be grounded in your vision, and you'll be grounded on the one thing that you need to do today to bring your vision forward.
I think that the structure part that you mentioned is it's a good point. And a lot of times when you start, it's like I don't know what structure looks like. Like you just feel like you have to get everything done in one fell swoop. And I think like once you establish those systems and you can schedule in those resting blocks or taking a step back, or maybe like that might be the two things that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I intend to get this done and then I can focus on another two tomorrow. It really allows for a more efficient flow.
Exactly. I imagine there's been plenty of moments where you felt like things were maybe crumbling apart, or maybe you felt overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
In those moments, how did you push through and manage to stay grounded? And how have you learned since then to be able to ground yourself whenever new difficult moments are to come?
The only thing that is coming up for me is um, that whenever I have tried to build based off of my own strengths, I find that I am struggling more. And what I mean by that is that when I'm not anchored in my faith, this is my personal journey. My brand is nothing without my faith or without God and my relationship to Him. I feel like whenever I start to spiral, it is almost like a reflection of where I am in the journey. It's like me taking on, like, I'm not leaning on Him. I'm trying to build, I'm trying to establish control, I'm trying to establish some sense of security for myself. And when I do that, it's not working out. It's not yielding the results. And if it does, it's very like short-lived. I feel like to answer your question, like how do I cope or work through those things, is like right now I'm really just trying to stay locked in and getting that direction, getting that inspiration first from my relationship with God and letting Him lead me. And that is really what has allowed for me to continue pushing forward in difficult moments in my business, right? Because this is what we're speaking about, but obviously in personal life too. Um, yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
way that I've been able to stay grounded and able to move forward with. Maybe I lose momentum and I just have to start up again. But that's really it.
When you say you lean on God and allow Him to lead you, what does that look like for you?
Taking time to talk to Him, to read the Bible, to allow, and then like just being still, learning to be still, because that is a struggle for somebody who is a high functioning, right? I don't know if you wanted to say something.
You can finish your thought.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that learning to be still, learning to pray first, to look to Him first before making decisions, and inviting the Holy Spirit into my interactions, into these moments, so that I'm led by that.
I can also add on to that in a sense where that's also been a part of my journey recently. It
Mm-hmm.
looks a little bit differently, where it's I learn to be still and observe myself and try to I try to observe why it is I'm feeling the way I do, or why it is something triggered a certain reaction from me.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be literally the smallest thing. I'll try to understand that, because if you realize a way of behavior, or if you want to think about it this way, if you think about the person who you're aligning yourself to be, the person you're building yourself up to be, and you think, does this behavior, does this reaction, does this um, way of acting align with that version of me, and it doesn't, being still and looking into yourself and just taking the time to get to know yourself, it will help you align yourself and push you in the direction that you want to go in. So, you are the mother of a wonderful 1 year old.
Hmm.
How did your perspective on what matters shift after you became a mom?
That is a loaded question. That was a struggle, to be honest, and still a struggle now, as far as like what matters and how is that, like, how did that shift for me? Why do I feel that that was a struggle? Because I am a recovering people pleaser, and like I mentioned, I feel like I'm very high functioning. So feeling like I'm somebody, or wanting to be somebody that has always been reliable, always on time, you know, now my world has shifted to where it's not about everybody else. My first ministry, my first priority is my daughter's well-being, as well as my family. You know what I mean? And so that had to shift a bit, because the way that I like show up in life had to shift a bit, because I cannot show up to the same capacity for everybody else in the same degree that I was doing before. Which I feel like, I know that this is not truth, but it had made me feel like an unreliable person in certain moments. For example, when my daughter was like 2 months old, she ended up being hospitalized, and she caught an infection and had a really bad fever, all of these things. But that Saturday, I actually had to work very early in the morning. And if you know me, you know that I don't cancel unless it's an emergency. And I even contemplated going into the salon and still servicing my clients. Mind you, I have a 7 week old in the hospital, and I'm feeling this like, I'm conflicted, because I don't want to disappoint my clients, and I know that they had important things going on that day. But then it's like, no, actually your priority is here, and God forbid something would have happened to her
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't there. That's something that I would not be able to live with. And so just kind of like, I can't be everything to everybody, and that is what has shifted for me. And learning to, as I mentioned before, learning to be still, and what that looks like in this season. It's, again, just kind of like, it's almost like surrender. And so, yeah, that's the best way I can answer that.
What would you say is the biggest thing you've learned from your daughter since she blessed you with her life?
Yeah. What I've learned about, or what has she taught me,
Uh-huh.
is to slow down. Like, and I say that because I'm a busy bee, as I've mentioned already. And she really be like, girl, it's not on your time. When I'm gonna take a nap, it's not on your time. When she's fussy, I have to slow down whatever it is that I'm doing, and handle whatever is happening in that moment. If she is sick, if she's not feeling well, I have to pause everything else. Or even sometimes, like, I might be trying to get admin work done, get responding to a message, a DM on Instagram, and she will quite literally grab me by the face and redirect my focus to her. And so in those moments, it's like a reminder, like, this is what's important, all of these other things are fleeting. And so I'm really in the space where, or she has pushed me to want to savor more of these moments, especially because, she's not going to be this small forever. And not
Mm-hmm.
only that, but one, tomorrow is not promised, and I want to savor these memories as best possible.
It teaches you, I mean, from the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it teaches you to appreciate the present more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you mentioned before, you have kind of been like a witness in my life too. What do you feel has been like the shifts that you've seen, like me becoming a mom, whether that be like from a business standpoint? And I know, like, you haven't been hand in hand with me in the entrepreneur, level, but you do
Mm-hmm.
see the things.
Honestly, from the outside looking in, it still seems like, I would just say we're just growing up.
Yeah, adulting.
Where as time goes on, we're becoming more mature,
Mm-hmm.
and I just see you're still the same Dells that I knew before
Mm-hmm.
Honor, and now that you have a baby, you're just you're just the same person that you were exemplified. All of
Mm-hmm.
your traits that made you you,
Mm-hmm.
um, all the traits that made you powerful, that made you disciplined, it just amplified it even more. So you're a
Mm-hmm.
bigger version of who you were before.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When your daughter grows up and thinks back on how Mama Dells was in
Mm-hmm.
her early days, what do you want her to think of you as, or what do you want her to learn from your your come up?
Uh, I would like for her to look back and be able to say that my mama was rested and balanced, but also that anything that I set my mind to, it got done. Regardless of what obstacles might have been in my way. I say rested and balanced because as a Dominican, you mentioned immigrant parents. Like, I feel like we have a lot of women in our culture who just they get it done. They do not know how to rest though. They're just going, 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 going to their own demise. Even like it's like a constant betrayal of self because they don't know how to rest. They don't know how to pour into their own cup. Like they live to serve everybody else, and that's fine. Like it's a beautiful thing to serve, but you are also worthy of being poured into. And so if I can say, like, I would like for her to look back and be like, yeah, like I know that no, that rest is my, not a luxury, but it's my right. I know that I can do big things, but also have balance or
Mm-hmm.
create it. Because it's not so much a like find balance. Yes, we all get the same 24 hours in a day, but yo, like you have to create that. If you want the thing, if you want to develop discipline habits, you want a healthier body, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and maybe you're a mom, you got a 9 to 5, and you're coming home to the kids and doing all the things, you have to create the time, even if it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes earlier in the morning or staying up
Mm-hmm.
later, but like you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So I follow Alex Hormozy. I mentioned his name a lot.
Mhm.
He's a very successful entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Has a like a 10-figure business portfolio.
Mhm.
Something that he says it's because it's different for everybody, right?
Mhm.
Like someone might want to prioritize rest. That could mean a million and one different things for
Mhm.
everybody. Um, his motto for like living a fulfilling life, it's he breaks it down logically, where it's
Mhm.
what are the things that after the day, at the end of the day, I'm like I had a good day today.
Mhm.
For him, it's I went to the gym, I worked really really hard,
Mhm.
and ate some good food with the people I love.
Mhm.
And how can I carry this over to as much days that I live as possible, right?
Mhm.
So in I'm not sure what that would be for you, but for your daughter when she grows up, whatever it is that fulfills her, whether
Mhm.
it be spending time with her friends
Mhm.
or maybe she learns an instrument, if she can find whatever fulfills her and then find a way to manage to do the fulfilling things or the things that fulfill her as much as possible throughout her life, I think that's pretty profound.
Mhm.
So it's just a different perspective that I just wanted to add on to what you said. I
Mhm.
thought it's something interesting that I could share.
Mhm. Very enriching.
Yeah. If you could go back in time and speak to your younger self, what would you tell them?
I would say, um, one, that it's okay to continue enforcing your boundaries. Yes, it's going to make people uncomfortable. There's going to be pushback, but ultimately you establishing boundaries allows for you to operate in that relationship better. It is also an act of self-love. I would say, do things that scare you, do things that just find things that you enjoy and just like fully indulge yourself into it. I feel like The younger version of me, I did not get, like, I was so caught up in doing everything for everybody and being everything and trying to make sure that I'm easing everybody's struggles, that I don't like right now I don't even know the things that I like. So if I can go back and say that to myself, I would be that, like, take the risk. It's okay. The people around you will be okay. It is not your responsibility to carry everything for everyone.
That's it. It's profound.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you, and you're inspiring to me, to lots of people in our family, and
Mm-hmm.
I see the impact that you're having within your community as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and keep doing you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I want to say and encourage you to continue showing up. I feel like the words that you're sharing with the young minds in our community is really making a difference. It's helping. Your yes is setting the next person free. So we're here for it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Before we go, you have one message you could leave
Mhm.
behind to the audience. Could be anything you want. What would you want to leave behind?
What would I want to leave behind
Yeah.
as a message?
Yeah.
If I could leave y'all with one thing, it would be this. It's that no matter where you are in your journey, you are not behind, you are becoming. That every curl, every step, every season is teaching you something about who you're meant to be. Keep blooming even when it feels slow because growth is happening beneath the surface. It's giving the surface. It's giving catch me blooming. So,
Catch me blooming.
catch me blooming.
And always.
And always, always. Thank you for having me. Bye.